You just spent 3 hours with your best friends, laughing, talking, catching up on life. Good vibes all around. And then you get home, close the door behind you, and suddenly, you're exhausted. Not sleepy tired, drained tired. Like someone unplugged your battery and forgot to charge it back up. You collapse on the couch, stare at the ceiling and think, why do I feel like I just ran a marathon? It doesn't make sense, right? These are your friends, the people you actually like. So why does hanging out with them sometimes feel like work? Here's the thing. There's a hidden psychology behind why some people feel completely wiped out after socializing, even when they genuinely enjoyed it. And no, it's not always about being an introvert. Let's start with the most obvious one, the social chameleon. You know this person. Maybe you are this person. They walk into a room and immediately scan the energy. Who's here? What's the vibe? What version of me do I need to be right now? They're not fake, not exactly, but they're constantly adjusting, matching the tone, laughing at jokes that aren't that funny, asking follow-up questions even when they're not that interested. They're performing emotional labor without even realizing it. And here's the kicker. It's exhausting because they're not just being themselves. They're managing everyone else's comfort. Psychology calls this self-monitoring. High self-monitors are hyper-aware of how they're being perceived, so they tweak their personality to fit the situation. It's like running multiple browser tabs in your brain at once. And when the hangout's over, shutdown, complete mental collapse. If you've ever felt like you need a full day to recover from a casual dinner, this might be you. Then there's the emotional sponge. This is the person who absorbs everything. Someone tells a story about their stressful week, and suddenly they're feeling that stress too. A friend vents about a breakup, and now they're mentally replaying the breakup like it happened to them. They don't mean to do it. But empathy for some people isn't just a feeling. It's a full-body experience. Psychologists talk about something called emotional contagion. It's the idea that emotions are literally contagious. You catch them like a cold, and if you're someone with high emotional sensitivity, you're walking around in a crowded room picking up everyone's mood like a human antenna. You leave the hangout carrying pieces of everyone else's emotional baggage. No wonder you're tired. You didn't just socialize. You absorbed 6 different people's inner worlds, and now your brain is trying to sort through all of it. But here's the twist. Sometimes it's not about empathy or performance. Sometimes it's about the conversation itself. Enter the deep thinker in shallow water. These are the people who crave meaning, real talk, vulnerability, connection. But most social hangouts, surface level, small talk, gossip, jokes, repetitive stories. And for the deep thinker, it feels like being stuck in a conversation that never gets to the point. They're nodding along, laughing at the right moments, but inside, bored, frustrated, disconnected. It's not that they don't like their friends. It's that they're starving for substance and being fed fluff. And pretending to be satisfied with fluff is mentally draining. There's this concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. It's the discomfort you feel when your actions don't match your values. If you value depth but spend 3 hours in shallow conversation, your brain is working overtime trying to reconcile that gap. By the time you leave, you're not just tired, you're hollow. And then there's the overcommitted people pleaser. This one's tricky because they genuinely want to be there. They said yes to the hangout. They showed up. They smiled the whole time. But deep down, they didn't actually want to go. Maybe they were already tired. Maybe they had other plans. Maybe they just needed a night alone. But they couldn't say no. Because saying no feels like letting people down. So they override their own needs, push through the fatigue, and show up anyway. And the whole time, there's this quiet resentment bubbling under the surface. Not at their friends, at themselves, for not being honest, for not setting a boundary. Psychologically, this is called self-abandonment. You're abandoning your own needs to meet someone else's expectations. And that split, that internal betrayal, is exhausting in a way that's hard to describe. You didn't just socialize, you ignored yourself for hours, and your nervous system noticed. Finally, there's the person who just needs more space than most. Not an introvert in the classic sense. Not shy, not anxious. just someone whose nervous system processes social stimulation differently. For them, being around people, even people they love, is like being in a room with the volume turned up. Everything is louder, more intense, more demanding. Eye contact, tone of voice, body language, all of it requires processing. And after a while, it's just too much input. Their brain hits capacity. Think of it like a phone with too many apps running. Eventually, it overheats and shuts down. This isn't about liking or disliking people. It's about cognitive load. Some brains just need more downtime to reset, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how they're wired. So which one are you? The chameleon constantly adjusting? The sponge soaking up everyone's emotions? The deep thinker stuck in shallow conversation? The people pleaser who can't say no? Or the person who just needs more space than the world expects? Maybe you're a mix. Maybe it changes depending on the day. But here's what matters. Feeling drained after socializing doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you don't love your friends. It just means your energy works differently. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you can stop pretending and start protecting your peace.